Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Blank Check here, and I wanted to make an impromptu, belated, informal Bronycon video. Mostly because I bought too many things and wanted to show them to you. This is not a video about me bragging, this is a video about me making financially irresponsible decisions. If anything, it's a cautionary tale. I'll be talking over a slideshow of pictures because my setup is not great for video, my camera's not the best, and I generally don't feel like organizing things right now. Also, I don't have much video from Bronycon because it was pretty much non-stop with my group. I was getting in each night between 2 and 3 a.m. and waking up between 7 and 8. At any given moment, I was either at a panel at Bronypalooza, waiting in line, or buying things. Which is how this video is going to start in a second. After I talk about this swag haul I got here, I'll talk a little more specifically about the convention. So let's jump straight into merchandise. A little context, before the convention, I did not buy many MLP related things. Pretty much just shirts and the earlier comics. All the other merchandise I had was gifted to me by other people. Like these little vinyl figures and the Fluttershy bobblehead, got those through my club. This bigger Fluttershy vinyl was a present from a friend. This wood-burned image of Fluttershy was the first MLP gift I ever received, and I love it because Fluttershy is finally a tree. It's actually from the friend that I got into the show back when I started myself. I got these perlers from a friend who was moving out. I'll link her DeviantArt, she's very good at arts and crafts. This vinyl record I also received through my club. It is a legitimate record, but I have nothing to play it on, so it mostly sits around and looks pretty. And lastly, this little keychain blank check is from Lucky over on DeviantArt. You've seen his vectors in my videos before. He took one of the Dr. Hoobs models and did some remodeling and painting, and I love it. So I had accumulated a lot of things, though not by my own volition. And Bronycon changed that. It was my first convention, so I kind of threw caution to the wind. Also, my friends are bad influences on me, much to the dismay of my wallet. So let's get into the results. Firstly, this kind of counts because I had to buy my ticket, but this was my badge for the convention. I went around as blank check. Though every time I talked to someone, it seemed to flip around, so it was useless in the times I needed it most. For those who don't know, the convention uses a 3-card system, green, yellow, and red. Green means, come talk to me. Yellow means, talk to me if I know you, and red means, please stay away, please no. Moving on, these are so cute, it's little tiny chubby Fluttershy and Luna by Ink Key Studios. The background is different because I gave Luna to a friend before going home. Those things at the ends fit into 9mm headphone jacks, so Fluttershy is currently hanging from my phone. Next, some buttons. The one on the left is for donating $5 to the Buck Cancer Charity Fund. And the one on the right is the 5-year commemorative Bronycon pin. I figured I needed some memorabilia. Though the favorite pin I bought was this one. I kept Fluttershy right above my badge for most of the convention. She's so cute! Also, I got a Marin the Moon button. I like how subtle that one is. For a size comparison, here's these compared to the other two I showed. But over at Overmare Studios, I got 6 more of the big ones. They're all Fallout Equestria related. The first is the Enclave symbol. Next we see Applejack's Ministry of Wartime Technologies. After this, Twilight's Ministry of Arcane Sciences. Then the Ministry of Awesome, take a wild guess who named that. And next, Fluttershy's Ministry of Peace. The best one. Also, perhaps the one that caused the nuclear war. And finally, the Ministry of Image, Rarity's propaganda machine. They had 8 in total, but they sold them in sets of 3, so I missed out on Pinky's Ministry of Morale, and one other one I can't remember, maybe Red Eye's faction. Next, for donating $12 to the cancer charity, the Brony Thank You Fund gave out a 2017 calendar. It's really cool, every image is an homage to a classic piece of art. Things like Starry Night, The Thinker, and as you can see on the cover, the famous pointillism design. Next, some of the most practical purchases. These are carved coasters. The one on the left, for those who don't know, is a direwolf, the symbol of the House Stark from Game of Thrones. And the one on the right is Celestia's butt. I've used both of these every day since the convention. I usually have a glass of water and a glass of something else on my desk. Also practical, this little cozy of Fluttershy's butt tattoo. It's my favorite cozy ever. I don't drink beer, so it pretty much exclusively holds Diet Dr. Pepper. Next, this was great. I did not buy this. I was given this at the con by Temujin here on YouTube. I wore this patch on my pants for most of the convention, and it did help people recognize me. The first booth I went to in the marketplace was Pack Breakers. They had a couple limited items. One was a Season 5 giant poster, and the other was this. They had a blind box tin wrapped in gold foil. Mine ended up being a Discord one, so I'm pretty happy. That's my favorite design I've seen. Inside were a lot of cards for the game that I do not play, but I had been in line for a long time, and it was a limited item, so I had to get it. And my favorite card that came with the purchase was this commemorative Bronycon Mod Pi one. Speaking of cards, on Sunday morning while waiting for the marketplace to open, a girl walked by just handing out some, so I took them. Maybe I should learn to play the game sometime, because the tin did also come with this playing mat. I have no idea what's going on here. I think the tin also came with this thing. On the back side is some information that I forgot about, but on the front side is the Bane 6, so yay! Alright, let's get real. We're talking about plushies now. I had never bought a plushie before this. But here you can see the voluptuous tracksuit Lola Balloon, my favorite character. She has the best face because that arched eyebrow and that smirk, it's just too much. Yes, this is just a 4D plushie, but it looked so good at the booth, and it's my favorite one because it comes with a cape. And not only that, it comes with a hat. Detachable items are the best, you'll see why in a second. If I could have just bought Applejack's hat by itself, I would have. Moving away from mass production, I got this Fluttershy. It's by KL Plushies, and I really like how the right foreleg wraps around. You can make it hug your finger, it's cute. It's a solid job. The cutie mark, mane, and tail are all put together well, and I'm a fan of how they did the wings. This was a bit of an impulse purchase because I bought it as they were packing up on Sunday. I passed by it the first couple times but didn't buy it because the face is kinda derpy, but it grew on me and now I really like it. Also, the best thing, when you combine it with the previous purchase and make the great and powerful Fluttershy. So good. Speaking of so good, the first plush I bought was this baby here. You saw these all around the convention. Fluffy Mixer had been advertising these on his Twitter for a while, but seeing them in person I could not resist. They're so cute! Just look at her little tongue. The only issue is that I have to keep it away from my cat at all times, or else things will go downhill very quickly. The best part, though, is how it pumps. Look at that. Pump. Classic Fluffle. Moving on, I passed by Stars and Spikes booth many times, and there were so many towels, I had to buy one eventually. So I got this derpy hand towel. The only problem is, I don't know if I can bring myself to use it. Heading back to Overmare Studios, I went there with a purpose because I had to buy the Wasteland Whaler CD. These are some of my favorite musicians in the fandom. If you don't know them, go check out Overmare Studios on YouTube. The CD came with around a dozen tracks and was signed by the members Brittany Church, Yandi, and Haymaker. I really regret not seeing them live at Bronypalooza. And next, the final purchase I made before leaving the convention, this painting by Grenadier caught my eye. The rest of his paintings were portraits, close-ups of character faces, but I preferred this one, just Fluttershy, on a bridge, staring at the fishies, just thinking about life. It came on a canvas, all ready for display, and the texture is really nice. It was legitimately just painted on there. Now, it's time for prints and posters. This might take a while. First up, the commemorative Bronycon 2016 poster. I had to get it for the memories. Next, over at Pack Breakers, I did not buy their limited Season 5 poster, but I did pick up their Starlight and Trixie poster. It's the only show-accurate art I have, and it's 3D. When you look at it at different angles, the background goes all crazy. Next up, I had to go visit the booth for Assassin Monkey. If you don't know him, go to DeviantArt and look at his stuff. It's amazing. Like this thing, the Season 5 finale with all the villains, and Twilight fighting Starlight. It might be my favorite piece of his. Along with that, I got his battle-ready Celestia. She looks very angry, ready to unleash the power of the sun. And because I bought that, I had to get the complimentary Luna walking through the land of the dead here. Those are definitely going up on the wall together. Back at Overmare Studios again, this is a depiction of Velvet Remedy by Nemo 2D. up on stage, probably singing some sort of blues. I had to get this one because I associate it with the Wasteland Wailers, and Brittany Church in particular. While I was there, I also grabbed this wonderful piece by Nemo 2D in metallic print. This is one of my favorite prints from the con. This is Blackjack from Project Horizons, sitting there, whiskey in one of her bionic arms, with her sword across her lap, just pondering morality and death in the wasteland. Nemo 2D is a superb artist. Then I spent some time over at Boiler's booth. He is Hobbs Maxwell on DeviantArt, Boiler 3 on Tumblr, though a word of caution, there is some NSFW stuff on there. But still sticking with Fallout Equestria for a moment more, I picked up this print of Little Pip and Blackjack. I saw this particular image on a friend's wall last year. Seeing the Lightbringer and security together like that, I've wanted one ever since. I also grabbed this cute derpy with a hoodie playing in puddles. I can relate. And I loved the color palette and design of this Octavia. She is lacking no confidence, but I would be completely remiss to get that and not get the complimentary vinyl scratch. These two look phenomenal side by side on the wall. Next, this one by Bumblebun I did not think I would be getting. But after walking by it several times and thinking, man, that is adorable, I finally caved and picked it up. I'm not even the biggest shipping person, but man, it is so cute. Derpy is going completely wild. She has lost all control. Lyra and Bonbon are in shock. Down here, Octavia is finally making a move on vinyl, but she has not had nearly enough to drink. Soren has been through some rough times. He just came in, ordered a pie, and is crying himself to sleep. Trixie's looking in the window. I'm not sure exactly what she's doing. Maybe she wishes she had some bits to buy some drinks. And over here, Berry Punch challenged Spitfire to a contest, and she could not back down. It looks like they both won. Moving on, Arcadian Phoenix is a great artist, and she was having a sale on Sunday before the convention closed. I picked up several of her works. At this point, I had a lot of prints, but the main 6 were generally absent. This one amended that problem, and it's really cute. Also, down here you'll see Twilight and Rarity are crossing horns. What's going on there? Much in the same vein, I picked up her print of the Equestrian Tetrarchy. I really do like her style for their faces. On top of that, I picked up her 3 Luna Moon. If they were all howling, it would just be perfect. And finally, this Fluttershy, because I can never have enough Fluttershy, and she is so graceful in this one. Speaking of the timid yellow Pegasus, I picked up 2 half-size prints that fit together hand in hand. It's impossible to just have one of these. The symmetry is what really makes it great. And put together like this, it seems Angel is looking very angrily at Flutterbat. Unfortunately, I do not know the artist. If you do, please tell me, I'll add them to the description. To follow this, one of my favorite things in the entire vendor hall, John Joseko, I believe, had a bin of misprints, which he sold for just a few dollars a piece. And these were misprints in the sense of very minimal errors, generally negligible to me personally. So I had absolutely no problem picking some up. This first one is actually one of my favorite purchases from the convention, Lyra and Bonbon Sailor Moon style. The artist behind this one is Leakfish, and I have no idea what's wrong with it. It's really adorable, and as many of you know, this is my OTP, so this was a steal. From the same bin, I grabbed this simple, elegant Luna picture. Now, this is one where I actually can see the misprint. It was slightly misaligned. There is a fine white line on the top. But I'm okay with that. It makes it unique. And I don't know the artist here either. It's really hard to figure out when all you have to go by is Luna and Moon. Next up, this diabetes-inducing CMC milkshake poster, designed by Rat of Drawn. Apple Bloom dressing up like her big sister is the best. After this, here is a blown-up version of Andy Price's Nightmare Night comic cover. Seems fine to me, and it's actually double-sided. There's a completely different picture on the back. And if that's the misprint, then I have no complaints. I also grabbed this Season 5 finale wartime poster of Metal Wing Rainbow Dash paying homage to Rosie the Riveter. And because I wasn't feeling classy enough, I picked up this reminder of Fluttershy's modeling days. Now I'll be fashion savvy for sure. And finally, another Nightmare Night picture. I have no idea what this OC is. If it was Flutterbat, I would pick it up in a heartbeat. I literally bought this for the sleeve it came in. I had just purchased the metallic blackjack print, and I was carrying it around unprotected around the vendor hall. So I dashed over to the misprint bin so I could buy a large print and make sure blackjack was safe. Next up, oh god, how did that get in here? Many of you are aware that I met Pikapedia at Bronycon, and he sat down and voluntarily drew a picture for me. It's beautiful? If you do not know the context, watch my reaction to Pinkie Prime. He really captured my abject horror. And look at that smug little face of his. Back to Sunday, while I was looking around for things to pad out this video, I passed by Chibi Genhen's little shop and picked up this very cute Derpy. In addition, it came bundled with this nice depiction of the 4 princesses in You'll Play Your Part. She was trying to flush her old stock, so I figured why not? Now, context for the remainder of the prints. On Sunday, I passed by a vendor booth that housed several different artists working together. And they introduced a very interesting concept, a blind tube of prints. 12 prints for $20. I'm not a gambling man, but I definitely felt a rush. I got one of them, liked what I saw, and then purchased another one. They made for a very interesting and diverse array of prints. The most prevalent artist in the set was Atrol, or Atrol, I'm not sure. I was very happy I got this Pinkie Pie Deadpool crossover. I'm sure if they work together, they can somehow break the 5th wall. He also made this very nice, serene Fluttershy under a tree. I like to think this is a Lord of the Rings crossover secretly, and Gandalf's about to pass by. A wizard is never late. He made this very picturesque Celestia, and on the bottom right you can see the CMC just playing, having fun. Add onto that this adorable Twilight in her treehouse, staying up late studying by candlelight, with Spike asleep in the background, Owlicious keeping watch, and Smarty Pants in the corner. Then we have Dress Horse doing Dress Horse things, as she does. Next, another main 6 picture, as Pinkie Pie succumbs to her horrible addiction to sugar. And this is one of my favorites. It seems Scootaloo fell asleep at the wheel and drove the CMC straight into a mud pit. Apple Bloom is staring daggers, preparing to buck her in the next week. Next, we're in the middle of some Diablo-looking fight between Celestia and Luna. Celestia took the last cookie from the cookie jar without sharing, and Luna is having none of it. Then we enter some post-apocalyptic future, and Bonbon, sporting My Little Warfare attire, is holding a Lyra cannon. You know, still my OTP. And finally, from this artist, this very saucy-looking Chrysalis. I don't know how to feel about this. Anyway, there were a few in the set whose artist I'm not entirely sure on. One is this 60s diner-style Pinkie Pie, rollerblading around, delivering milkshakes. I would go to that diner. In the same style, we have Rarity with a head crab. Rarity fighting giant crabs is one of my favorite things. I don't know how that got started. And I also got an Adventure Time print. Sure, why not? The second artist in the bundle was Sidenart, I believe, who focuses primarily on anthro stuff. My favorite being this really tranquil Fluttershy hanging out in a tree sipping tea. It's just really pleasant. And I love the addition of the little bird with its own cup there. Next, there's this depiction of Vinyl and Octavia, as I would imagine them back in the 60s. I really like the way that Vinyl's channeling John Lennon. It looks good on her. Next, I actually swapped prints with a friend. I gave him a Pinkie Pie picture, and he gave me this. I love it. It's goofy in an adorable way. Specifically, it's Sweetie Belle's gesture here that gets me. I don't know why she's doing that, but I love it. Sidon also made this ballet Fluttershy. I like the picture, but it's not really my first choice of things to hang on my wall. And he brought together Pinkie Pie, AJ, Spike, and Bonbon for a Canterlot cook-off. Seems they were victorious, good on them. Unfortunately, this picture does commit the unforgivable sin of making Twist feel good. It's a shame. It almost made up for it by bringing in Derpy with a giant muffin in the top left. Almost. The next artist I know of was Velixane. made this Kill a Kill Pinkie Pie, as I've been told by friends. That's an anime I need to watch. Velixane also made this nice Dr. Hoobs and Derpy picture, which I appreciate because my haul had been very much lacking in terms of the Doctor so far. And the final artist was Green NPC, aka Stranger Danger, who gave me two very different pictures in this blind bag. The first, Maud and Pinkie Pie hanging out on the rock farm. The second, the Sirens' backup careers. It must be Taco Tuesday because Sonata is in it. And there's an extended look at all the things I brought home. I have no regrets. Alright, with that over, I'll give a bit of a summary of my Bronycon experience. This was really my first convention ever, so I was ill-prepared, but I attended with some people who are well-versed in con etiquette. They generally helped me wake up each morning and keep from being overwhelmed by everything that was happening. I stayed at the Hilton, which is connected to the convention center by a sky bridge, which was a complete lifesaver. The weather up in Baltimore was very hot and muggy, so being able to avoid the outside was nice. However, the center was blocked off Thursday when we arrived, so we had to walk all the way around to register. Along the short walk, I was approached by a guy who tried to run a sob story past me to get money, so that was a novel experience. Thursday night, a friend and I walked a mile and a half down to the bar trot, where different bars were doing themed drinks and other specials. I ended up having a few different vodka shots named after Derpy and Fluttershy, a shot of Applejack Daniels, woohoo, and a couple tall drinks called Trixie and Twilight. It's the first time I've ever really gone out to drink. The first handful of bars were fine, but the last one we ended up at was fantastic. It was blasting pony music, everyone was singing, and several were dancing, and the bartenders behind the counter were hilariously professional the entire time. I loved them. I ended up getting back after 2 a.m. and had the pleasure of waking up around 7. I ended up standing in line in the vendor hall by around 8, 2 hours before it opened. Fortunately, I downloaded the 3DS version of Smash Bros. The night before, so that helped through the weekend. My first panel was The People Behind the Ponies, which featured the actresses for the main 6, except Twilight, as well as Maud Pie, Apple Bloom, and Daring Do. It's the first time I've ever seen them in person, and they seem pretty awesome. Ashley Ball's really chill, Andrea Libman is adorable, Tabitha is really eccentric on stage in an entertaining way, and Ingrid Nilsson is just the coolest person. The panel was basically a few personal questions followed by Q&A from the audience. Sometime back in the vendor hall, while I was around Overmare Studios, I encountered Argo Damon. He recognized me, which was awesome, and we had a nice chat. Wish I had thought to get a picture. Later in the day, I made it to Tara Strong's independent panel, which was fun. She's very good in front of a crowd, but the panel quickly fell into a Q&A with a lot of questions you've seen answered if you've watched these sort of things online before. The highlight was the beginning, where Tara introduced a girl who she helped get crowdfunding to come to Bronycon after she had been bullied. It was a heartwarming moment. Right afterward, I met up with Epic V and her friend, as well as fellow reactors Potter Brony and Conan Royal. We went out to eat and had a pretty great time sharing stories. And yes, Epic V is exactly as you would imagine. Later that night, I made it to the Bronies React panel, where Race Best, Saberspark, Black Griffin, Brony Dance Party, Viva Reverie, and a little shy FIM, I believe, did their thing. More importantly though, I stuck around for short and sweet chats with Race, Saber, Viva, and Little Shy afterward, as well as a spontaneous Jax Blade appearance. When midnight rolled around, I attended the SFM panel hosted by Argo Damon, Adam the Amazing 64, and others, where they premiered Doors 2 as well as several of their new animations. It was a great late night time, and I learned about and met the team leads for PABS. This is an SFM animation team dedicated to Fallout Equestria material, specifically filling in the gaps left by KCAT. I'll link their YouTube channel because not a lot of people know about them, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what they produce in the future. After this, at 1 a.m., I had my first taste of Bronypalooza. I'm bummed I missed out on the Wasteland Whalers and P1K playing earlier in the day, but I caught the tail end with Omni and a taste of Odyssey Eurobeat. Back in the room around 2:30 for another early morning rise. At 10 a.m. on Saturday, I attended Saturday Morning Ponies, hosted by Disney Fanatic and 4 others, who put together full-length PMVs cut to the audio of other cartoons, including Kids Next Door, Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Lab, Phineas and Ferb, and Fairly Odd Parents. These were quality productions. I did not know what to expect, but I had a great time. Afterward, I had a nice hello and a quick picture with Disney Fanatic herself. Sometime later, my group was early in line for the Elements of Harmony, which had our entire main 6 together for the first time in Bronycon history. They had an amazing live reading of Tabitha's own fanfic, written in the style of an actual MLP episode. Saberspark got to play Spike, Michelle Creeper took over for Nicole Oliver as Celestia, Racebest was our narrator, and Black Griffin got to play a singing dentist. That's because the episode was about Luna chipping a tooth and feeling insecure over the speech impediment it gave her. It was really cute and very well performed. This was definitely a highlight of the show, and they were very strict over no audio or video recording for pretty obvious reasons. I believe it was after this panel that I came across the Inverted Shadow, creator of the Elements of Insanity, and he had very nice things to say. I like that guy. Later in the day, I was called out on Twitter by Pikapedi, so I had to go find him sitting in the middle of the hall drawing things with Pymations and company. Then he insisted on drawing me this magnificent image over the course of like half an hour, going through the whole sketching process and then lining over it. He almost made me late to the next panel. What an a-hole, am I right? But yeah, thank you, Petey, you crazy, crazy man. After this, I rushed up to Whose Line Is It Anyway, where Race, Saber, Gabe, Creeper, and B-Vids generally made fools of themselves. It was a lot of fun, and some segments hit really well. The Irish drinking song was a bit of a disaster, as it tends to be. Truth be told, I almost nodded off in the middle because the convention was taking its toll on me. Soon after, I made my way back down to Bronypalooza, where I managed to catch Black Griffin and Michelle Creeper's performance. I really enjoyed this because it was different than the DJ, electronic, dubstep, wub 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 stuff that I headbanged to at other points in the convention. I love the live concert feeling. When midnight rolled back around, I made my way to Hoof of Argon, an audience participation panel focused on reading 2 very bad fanfics. It was a great time, made even better by getting more FaceTime with Saberspark, who had been hanging out with my friend. He's a really cool, down-to-earth guy. On top of that, I had been keeping an eye out all weekend for a certain someone at the convention, and he happened to walk in and even participate in Hoof of Argon. And that was Woodlore, easily one of my favorite musicians in the fandom. He stuck around after the panel at 1 a.m., and we had a pretty long conversation. I'm really happy he lived up to my expectations, and everyone should go listen to his music. Right now. And always. Back at Bronypalooza, I caught the big closer, Silvahound, who did a pretty great job, and he's one of the few musicians of his style whose music I'm actually familiar with, so it was awesome to end the day rocking out to Come Alive. Once more, back after 2 a.m., and woke up before 8 a.m. because we checked out of the hotel room. There were 6 of us in a standard room with 2 beds, by the way. It was tons of fun. I got back into the vendor hall for some Sunday deals, as you saw before. But I did end up going to Writer Mad Libs, featuring GM Barrow, Dave Polsky, Jeremy Whitley, and good ol' M.A. Larson. They played Mad Libs, with frequent audience participation. This panel was kind of amazing in how laid back and often non-PC it was. Let's just say body pillows made their way into multiple stories, and for some reason Flash Sentry ended up on Twilight's sofa, and he was wet. And those are the highlights. My crew bailed before the closing ceremonies to avoid horrible traffic, but I had definitely gotten my fill of the convention. These were long days filled with very little downtime, a lot of extravagant purchases, and tons of new friendly faces. I can't wait to go back next year. Thanks for listening to me ramble, everyone. Until next time.